Hey everyone, Eric Nelson here once again, and thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. Well, I am back with another book review, which I will be reviewing Sidney Jameson's Touchstone for Play. Now, for those of you who haven't seen my other book reviews, here's why I have a copy of the book cover on a piece of paper. I have the book actually on my Amazon Kindle, and it's on my laptop, which my webcam is also on my laptop. And so far, I'm still not up to date with the technology, but I will learn. So until then, I'm sticking to this method. So anyway, back to the book. Now, this is actually another one of those romantic books, but it's the type of romance where not only girls but also guys can like as well. As a matter of fact, I encourage all couples to read this to get together because you might have guessed it, it's an erotic novel. But it's actually a lot more than that. Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, there are similarities to to this of like 50 Shades of Grey, but it's actually a lot more. And as a matter of fact, it's actually a musical too. That's right. The author is Sidney Jamesson also included songs in the book, and like the actual story, the songs not only fit well into the plots of the story, they are actually almost like songs within a Disney animated movie where they actually move the story forward. Where they like explain the where if it's like when it's a character is singing, it talks about themselves or it talks about the situation that they're in. So yeah, I think that that was actually a really good move on Sidney Jameson's part. So anyway, now what is the book about? Well, as I said, it's a romantic, erotic, and a musical story, and it's also a triangle of love and, of course, some drama as well. It actually is told through the point of view of the female part of the romance, Elizabeth Parker, or her name is actually Beth. Yeah, no, I mean her name is Elizabeth, but she's called Beth throughout the story. But she is actually a teacher who in the beginning kind of looks like sort of like a bland teacher who's not really attractive. She just kind of looks like the everyday teacher, or maybe not like the everyday teacher. She just kind of looks like a teacher who you would either stereotypically see as a teacher, or just as a teacher who you really wouldn't give a lot of notice to, until a man comes to the school who is actually a real well-known man. In the book, his name is Aiden Stone, and he's rich, he's powerful, he's a playboy. He's almost like Bruce Wayne, with the exception of him being a superhero. But he's so in other words, he's like Bruce Wayne except without the bat suit. And he's also kind of like, a lot of people think of him as being like a snob and a real arrogant guy because he's got a lot of money, and he's basically everything who you want to be. And he does act sort of, I mean, at least through my point of view, he acts sort of air like the classic arrogant rich jerk. Until, and now of course when when Beth sees him, she immediately, like all the other girls in this book, she falls in love with him. And then when Aiden sees her, even though she doesn't look very attractive and, as I said, looks like the stereotypical teacher or looks like someone who you would see as not someone who's really noticeable, he sees something in her that he finds attractive, and they end up seeing each other for a while, and then so once they see each other, they start to bring out something that nobody else can see. And well, as I was reading it, I kind of saw that Beth kind of like turned into sort of like not a sexual deviant, but she just kind of brought in the. I mean, from my point of view, it was almost like she was the stereotypical teacher who had a geeky glasses, and then once she got to see Aiden, it was almost like she took off those glasses and started pushing back her hair, and then was like, hey, and then she turned into like the sexy cougar teacher, and then what she brings with, and then what she brings out of Aiden from him being the stereotypical rich, arrogant guy, she actually sees a softer side of him, and that's what kind, and the softer side is kind of what brought him to see, Beth. But then, of course, with every romantic story, you have to have a conflict, and that's when somebody from Beth's past comes in, and which is basically the. I mean, he's not the stereotypical jealous ex. He's a little more scary or more frightening than that. I mean, and so let me just go on record in saying I think Cindy Jameson is a very talented author because she was able to incorporate erotica, um, a musical, romance, and also to bring a very cruel villain. Now, where does this story go after the man from Beth's past comes in? Well, I know I gave a lot of detail about the characters, but I'm going to leave it at that because as I said in my other reviews, I think it's best for you, the reader, to read and see for yourself. So anyway, I give this a 5-star review. As I said before, I think Sydney Jameson did a wonderful job, and 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 also as I said before, she was able to incorporate many different genres into one book, as with a lot of authors can do. But my favorite part is where she incorporated music into the book. And of course there are a lot of people can write music, but to incorporate music into a novel, a little tricky. So yeah, you can pick up this book on your Amazon Kindle like I did, or hopefully at the major bookstores. Hopefully, if it gets to that point for Cindy Jameson. And actually, this is part of a series. I'm sorry, a series. It's part of the Story of Us series. So there will be a next book coming within this series, and yeah, so hopefully you guys get this book and the other books as a part of Cindy Jameson's series, and I hope to see you all at the bookstore.